What's up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Take MLB DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I'm joined once again by the triple OG of the Wise Take Nation, Mr. Patio Joe. You can find him on Twitter at Patio Joe. Ref Joey, my man. What's happening?
Not much, man. Just hanging out. Thursday, getting everything ready to go on my little trip tomorrow to get away. So, getting that done. Talking a little DFS with you.
Yeah, man, pretty sick. You're gonna go down and you're gonna watch your Dodgers play the Rockies in Coors. Should be pretty exciting. Ironic. It's ironic to me that you chose to go on the Rockies' first game back in Coors and like the first series, because I know you've always been big on like the first game in Coors. Typically, it's guys taking a game to adjust and all that. So, what do you expect to see from that game? I mean, I know we're kind of giving part of it away, but just curious, like, what do you expect to see from that game?
I mean, the Dodgers always seem to go into Coors and not have a problem. Yeah. So I feel like it's going to be a big day for Coors. Yeah, okay. So stack the Dodgers.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to the game, so off top, regardless, you have to. But I think even if you weren't going to the game, it does seem like a decent spot for it. So yeah, today for me sucked. After as hot as I've been, I think I won like $5,000 this week. And then if you include it, it's more than that if you include going back to last week. But so I think I won like $8,000 or something like that between the 2 weeks. And today was one of the absolute worst DFS days that I've ever had. So that's like interesting for me. I was just way off on everything. How did you do?
Oh boy, not very good. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that all the teams just like that we were on just did not seem to go off. The one team that I was like, hey, what about this team? They're now at 14 runs. So if you had the Pirates, you probably won everything tonight because nobody's even close to what they're doing.
Yeah, so. It definitely was a pretty bum slate. I guess like the Rangers' leverage worked because when they did score, they only scored like 4 or 5 runs, but I think 4 of those were actual home runs. So I guess that would have helped. But all in all, I agree. It was just like everything kind of dudded, everything kind of sucked. And so did the Brewers, who I was all in on. So that really blew. But the
Brewers, the Astros, the Phillies. Yeah. I mean, the Mets were okay. You know what I mean? But you had to have the right ones, So it just wasn't one of those days where it was just like it was either feast or famine, I guess. That's what it basically was.
No. Definitely was. The good thing about MLB is it is a daily sport, so we have another slate tomorrow. We have 2 slates, actually. On this show, we'll only cover the main slate, which is the night slate. Regardless, really the main slate is kind of the early slate, but we're going to cover the night slate, make sure all of our members have time to get all the content. And I will be writing an article covering the early slate for those subscribed at wisetake.com. You'll have access to that. But for this show, we are going to cover in our main slate content tomorrow at the site. It's going to be for this smaller 4-game slate. So let's go ahead and jump into it, Joey. Cash Games SP1. Who's the guy?
I mean, you probably, first of all, guys, there's a 4-game slate. I would definitely lower my cash game volume and just play more GPPs. I think the cash game pitcher tomorrow is pretty simple. It's Steven Strasburg. There just really is nobody else in a decent matchup to where you would want it. You could take Walker Buehler, and I think that he will be somewhat popular in GPPs because he's coming off of a 16-strike complete game performance against the same Rockies. So it's in Coors now, so I still think that if you wanted to play Buehler, he's been great, but most people are going to go to Strasburg in cash. I wouldn't try and get off the grid. I would just lock in Strasburg. Don't try and get weird with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think in tournaments the fade is certainly on the table, as it always is with the highest owned pitcher on the slate. But I think I'm with you in cash games. I don't think you mess around. The Miami Marlins are projected for 3.1 runs. They've been awful, particularly bad. Like they've been bad all year, but they had like a spurt where they were actually like kind of tough. Like they've been overall bad lately. It's just awful. So. I'm cool with that in Miami. Nice pitching park. What about SP2?
SB2s, I'd probably say, it'd be between Griffin Canning and Sandy Alcantara. Probably lean to Canning just because he's been a little bit better. But Alcantara has had some really, really good starts. So I think it's really just a toss-up on the price in your lineup construction. Both are probably the only options that I would consider as SB2s. Let's see, 8.5 and 8.3. So it's basically lock in Strasburg and then, whatever else. They're basically the same price. I don't see anybody else I would really want.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like you said, a toss-up between those guys, Canning and Alcantara. On the one hand, Alcantara is an underdog. That might make people a little uncomfortable, but he has a great park. He's been super consistent lately. We did see before the Nats eventually scored some runs, they were getting destroyed by that kid, Miami's rookie. And it's a good park and it's an NL team, so you're going to get the pitcher batting, whereas Canning is going to have a DH to pitch to. So I'm fine with either or. I agree it's a toss-up. I think right now I lean towards Alcantara a little bit. Mainly because Canning does have a little bit of a home run problem, but I agree with you, Joe. They're close in price. I think Canning has like better long term stuff. I think he's like the better long term pitcher, So I think it's a toss up. Let's talk about tournaments. So Strasburg is clearly going to be the highest owned pitcher by far. So if you are looking to fade the chalk at pitching, he's probably the easiest one to recognize as far as chalk. What are your thoughts, man? I think this is where maybe like the Buehler decision can come into mind as a pivot, but outside of like if you're not going Strasburg, you feel like there's not really a ton of people that have the same upside outside of Buehler, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I don't even think Strasburg has as much upside
Buehler, right? Yeah. He is good. Yeah.
That's what us Italians think about. Let's figure it out there. I'm telling you. Hey, I must say, 16 runs, 16 strikeouts last Friday night. What's probably he had an extra day off. Hey, I'm telling you, he had Buehler's day off today, so we could pitch tomorrow. Hey, Buehler's day off. Hey, this sounds good. Hey, I'm going to Chicago. No, I'm actually going to Colorado tomorrow because he was in Chicago today. Buehler's day off. That's what I'm saying.
There you go.
Seriously, though, I just think that's just the natural pivot, and people should go there. I think that people will go there because he's the only other really option. As an SP1, there's just nobody else.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You're sacrificing a lot of ceiling. And Buehler's just the guy. I really think, like, maybe on DraftKings, I'm sure people will look at the San Francisco game and try their best to salvage something, whether it be Beatty or on the other side, whether it's Alex Young, or if he's just going to serve as an opener, we have to look into that, and it's potentially Godley or some. People may try to look at that game to get a cheap pitcher just because it's a great pitching park, but I agree with you. In terms of upside, nothing's going to really help you in terms of like Strasburg, Buehler, like matching those ceilings. So you've got, right as of right now, it's looking like Strasburg, Alcantara, Canning, and Buehler. Those four pitchers in the mix of like ownership, and I would assume that most will go with one of Strauss and Alcantara because I'm assuming that a lot of people are going to want to try to get some Coors action because of how good Coors has been. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, wouldn't you maybe then? I mean, obviously, if you're going to get Coors, wouldn't you want to just do a double pay down then? Go like Canning and Alcantara.
Yeah, that absolutely.
Like Strasburg has this huge. He hasn't been that good. Let's be honest, okay? Let's not. Honestly, like he has not been that good this year, in my opinion. I don't think I've ever really rostered him this year. So, and I feel like it's just like if Buehler was anywhere else but Coors, he would be 100% the cash game pitcher, and people would not even be looking at Strasburg in cash. Am I right? It's just because Buehler's in.
Well, that in Miami, and the fact that they're playing Miami, that's like a big like cash game checklist. Like, so yeah, but I agree with you. I think Buehler would definitely, there would at least be a conversation. Rather as today, it's like automatic. No, you're going to Strasburg because Buehler's in Coors. So. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, in cash because you never know because that could just blow up. But yeah, I just think that's just the way everybody's going to go. I mean, even on FanDuel, Strasburg is more than Buehler because he's 9,600 on FanDuel and Strasburg is 10.4.
Right.
And he's had 58 once, 50 another time, 54. He's had a couple good games. He did have 8 innings, April 21st, 8 innings, 11 strikeouts against these Marlins. So that was his ceiling game that you could point to, kind of like Corbin tonight. You know what I'm saying? But Corbin, he had a 49, I think it was. Yeah. He basically had the same game that he had last time against them. So
talk about consistency.
So if you figure, I think, if you kind of go off that and maybe even if you shave off 15 points, that puts you at, 52. You know what I'm saying? That's good enough at his price to just lock him in. In casters.
Yeah, I'm with you. Going to be interesting to see the ownership on Buehler. He's going to be owned because it's a small slate, but I'm wondering how much, because that there's no other really good hitting environment or anything unless they open up the roof in Miami. But anyway, Joe, let's talk about some bats. Coors is the obvious spot. Let's start off with that. Are you interested in the bats here at all?
Oh yeah.
All right, talk to me.
Oh yeah. You gotta be. That's where everybody's gonna go. I think you gotta have at least one lineup, where you're playing at least the Dodgers bats, and then if Buehler's gonna be somewhat popular, then playing the Rockies tomorrow night they're gonna be way lower owned compared to the Dodgers. So you're gonna get some of these Rockies at a lower ownership. People aren't gonna really want to go there because even though they don't think Buehler's going to get 16 strikeouts again, I think that the people are going to just assume that he's going to at least take care of business. He might give up 4 runs in 6 innings. You know what I mean? He might not get a QS, but he's still going to get the win. I think that's what most people think. And then it's up to the Dodgers bullpen, which once again, Gonsolin came in today and he pitched 3 or 4 innings, and then it was a bullpen game, so they got knocked around a little bit. So don't really know how rest of the Dodgers bullpen is going to be. The wind is blowing in. That doesn't really bother me. It's going to be somewhat 85 degrees. It says mostly cloudy. It must have changed because all I've been noticing is going to be pretty good weather. So, I like Coors. I think the other team you're going to go to off the bat would be the Angels. If you're not going to Coors, that's going to be next where everybody's going to go. Facing against Tanner Anderson, who, if I believe he's somewhat of a ground ball pitcher, but I just think people are going to go there because they just don't like playing, they don't like playing the Giants, or they're not going to play the Marlins and the D-backs. They could play against Beatty, but it's in that bad park. So just by process of elimination and being projected for 5.4 runs, the Angels are going to be the next team below, I think, the Dodgers and the Rockies.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, the Angels have the second highest projected run total on the slate. I do think that Coors is worth a look at the very least. And if you're not going to end up pitching Buehler, then I think you want at least some Rockies for the leverage. Because like you said, I know it's Coors, but after the outing he just had against these Rockies in LA, I would imagine his ownership is going to be a little more driven than maybe it normally would be. Considering he's in Coors. So I think you want to grab some Rockies. But outside of Coors, I'm with you. The Angels seem like the next obvious option. The A's, Tanner Anderson is not very good. Their bullpen has not been doing very well either. And we've seen a surge in left-handed power in this park ever since they lowered the fence a little bit. Ostella, Ohtani, Calhoun already just seem like awesome plays. And then you fill in the guys in between with a Trout and Upton if you want the 5-man, and it just kind of fits. So Tanner Anderson, I don't think is a good pitcher. And we know the Angels are capable. I think that they're the most obvious offense as well. After that, it's tough, man. Like you said, you got the Nationals, the Marlins, the D-backs, and the Giants that are all going to go really low owned. I think you can make a case for the Diamondbacks. They're decent offense. Beatty's been horrible, except for that one start against the Dodgers. I will say this about Beatty. I think Beatty, he was really good in AAA, and he has been extremely unlucky. Missing bats is one thing. He's not missing the bats. That's on him. But as far as the contact goes, he has been particularly unlucky. And it's crazy. I keep waiting for it to run out. It looked against the Dodgers okay, here it comes. And then very next start against these same D-backs, it blew again. So, I don't know. He's somebody that I may want to look into tomorrow if I decide that I do want to go to Coors or some expensive stacks and I need some salary relief. He may be someone I have to look at. And I thought I wrote him off. I really did. But I'll say this. Jake Lamb is back. And that dude is a strikeout waiting to happen because he was doing awful in his rehab starts. He looked terrible. He looked absolutely. He had a 170 average in his AAA starts this year. So we'll see. But what about you, Joe? If you had to take a chance on one of these like low offenses, I guess. What about the A's, Joe? Like we talk about Canning. If you're not pitching Canning, I think Canning is viable. I do. But if you're not pitching Canning, this guy has been very home run prone, right?
The lefties, especially.
Right. So like Matt Olson just seems like pretty awesome tournament option, right?
Yeah, I definitely. They'd be the team I'd look at, and then I'd also look at the Marlins.
Yeah.
Because if they get to Strasburg and get into the bullpen too, let alone you're going to have the leverage of Strasburg busting, to which everybody's going to have, and then you might get 3 innings against this bad bullpen.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that it's it's a very low percentage play because it's the Marlins, but you're going to get them pretty low owned, just like you're going to probably get the Giants.
Oh, without a doubt, you're going to get them low owned. That's the leverage play for sure, if you got the Stones. You got the Stones for it.
Miami, you know what I mean?
It's
just
leverage play.
It.
It's leverage.
It's totally leverage. It's so nice on these small slates. You can just know that one of your teams is going to be a full leverage team.
Yeah.
And more times than not, that seems to be your best team. I think the D-backs too are somebody you can look at. They're coming off, 8 or 9 runs against the Dodgers today. Beatty is, had, like you said, had one good start against the Dodgers, and then the wind's blowing out 13 miles an hour. And I don't think that people will go there strictly because it's in San Francisco Park. So, yeah, Lamb is, not very good anymore, but Peralta, Escobar, Marte, I'll take that right there. That little 3-man right there could be very plentiful. You got 2 switch hitters, so it doesn't matter what comes in, but the Giants bullpen isn't very good. So you might also, since it is a 4-game slate, you really want to see what bullpens have been worked the most, and maybe that's where you're going to get your advantage.
I think that makes sense. Attacking bad bullpens where all else fails. I mean, the good thing about these small slates is where the ownership's going to go. Like that's the positive. So I think I think we have to take that into consideration. But it's going to be pretty humid out in Anaheim, huh? 70 degrees, 56% humidity. Joey won't be there. He's leaving. Not that you live in Anaheim, but you're somewhat close, or where there's not too different, right?
Yeah. It's about an hour away, or so a little bit over an hour away.
There you go. Gotta love it. I think that's going to do it for the slate breakdown. At this point, I'm going to remind everybody, if you haven't checked us out at wisestake.com, make sure you get over there, come join the nation, see what it is we do, see how we help you become a better DFS player. You can try us out with a day pass. It's $2.50. You'll get access to all the MLB DFS content for 1 full day. That's the cheat sheets, all the articles, the Wise stream, which is a live stream, we do 2 hours before lock. You'll get access to all of that. And you will get the early slate article that I write for tomorrow as well. So you'll get an extra article, extra slate coverage for the price of 1. So $2.50. Go try it out. Only thing you don't get is the Slack chat. Slack chat is for monthly members or higher. I do highly recommend you do that. Number 1, you'll save money going with a better membership. And number 2, the Slack is one of our best features, man. Getting in there and kind of chopping things up with the analysts and the rest of the nation. Chopping up slates, and once you're in the Slack, you get the Slack for all sports that we have, and we've got a lot right now: PGA, MMA. We got esports for those of you like the video game stuff, League of Legends. We got cheat sheets for that. We have some really awesome stuff. So come check us out. Anyway, Joe, time to do the cash game core. What do you think? So Strasburg number 1. What do you think, Alcantara or Canning? I'll let you pick.
I'm going to go with Canning.
Okay, works for me. Who's the cash game stud? I'm assuming we want someone from Coors.
Yeah, I would love to say Bellinger, but he has a knee tendonitis problem, so I could see the Dodgers pulling him if he, if they get a lead or if they like they did today. It was reported he has tendonitis. They wanted to save him for today, so I would say if I was picking one, I'd go with Muncy.
Okay, I'm cool with that. It's funny because if it was basically any other pitcher, I think the answer would be Charlie Blackmon. But because it's Walker Buehler, it's like, right? Because he's like always the auto lock cash play. If it's a lefty, Arenado or Story. If it's a righty, it's Blackmon. That's like the generic, right? So it's funny that Walker Buehler, slate changer. What about value? You see anybody value-wise that could help you afford all these people?
Boy, there's not like a ton of low price value guys tomorrow. I would say maybe Robbie Grossman.
I can dig it. I can definitely dig it. On DraftKings, I'll go with Buster Posey. He's 3K against, and he should be batting third if he's in there against a lefty. So I'll rock with it. I'll rock with it. Top 3 pitchers overall.
Bueller, Strasburg, and Canning.
Yeah, mine's going to be pretty generic. I have a feeling that tomorrow my top 3 will be a little different. But for now, I'm going to go with Strasburg, Alcantara, and Canning. Top 3 stacks.
Top 3 stacks, Dodgers, number 1. Number 2, the Angels. And number 3 will be the Diamondbacks.
I screwed up my top 3 pitchers. I said Canning. I meant Bueller. I was looking at Canning, and I just said Bueller. I said Canning, but I meant Bueller.
Can that idea.
Yeah, can that idea. For offenses, I will go with the Dodgers, the Angels, and I'll go with the Oakland A's. Although the Rockies, I have to dig some work in. They did get the Samardzija. I mean, that's the Samardzija. I'm not making comparisons now, but maybe it's like a lefty issue they're having. Anyway, Dong Watch Show. Who's going deep?
Let's do Dong Watch non-Coors.
All right, that could be interesting.
All right, let's do that. All right, to make it a little bit different tonight.
That's cool.
All right, let's go with. I'm gonna go with Justin Upton.
And I will go with Shuhei Ohtani. Is that coffee, Joe?
Yes, it is.
Decaf or no?
Matt Olson. No, it's caffeinated.
You gonna be up tonight or what?
Yeah, I gotta work and then.
I see.
I always have a cup of coffee at this time of night.
Really? Let me see.
I can still go to sleep within. If I wanted to go to sleep within an hour, I could.
Really? That's crazy. See, I used to be like that, but lately, if I have coffee too late, it'll keep me up. Like I'll just be up. I'm up anyway. I go to bed late every day because podcasts and planning for the next day and business stuff. But anyway,
you got 2 more home run guys. No, you have 1 more home run guy, right? Or 2?
I think I only gave Ohtani. Who did you give?
Yeah, I gave Matt Olson is my guy.
You bastard. That's a good one. I like that. That was the one non-angel that I was looking at, so I'll go with Tommy La Stella.
All right, and then I'm going to go a little bit off the grid. I'm going to go with Garrett Cooper, first baseman from the Marlins.
Okay, I could dig it. I will go with let's go. Oh, we can't do Coors. Let's go with Juan Soto. Why not? Juan Soto. We'll do that from the Nationals. And that is going to do it for the Wise Take DFS podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please click that thumbs up, that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a like and a share to support the Wise Take Nation. If you're watching on Twitch or Twitter, give us a follow, give us a retweet. And if you're listening to us on Podbean or iTunes, give us some 5-star reviews. Joey, anything in closing before we get up out of here?
No, man, just enjoy, the slate tomorrow. It's a small slate, get kind of weird, and I will be telling everybody how's it going. I'll be at the game at Coors Field, so checking that out.
Boom.
Be dropping 7s on them.
That's right, dropping 7s on them from Coors Field, Patio Joe style. I'm with it. Patio Joe's repping the nation out there. Shout out to the nation. For Patio Joe, for myself, the entire Wise Take Nation. As always, good luck.
Yeah.